Your worship, we're allowed. Nobody in the gallery other than me person.
All right, in-person gallery. Perfect. That's great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final regular council meeting of 2023 this holiday season. There are no amendments to the agenda, so if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as it presented.
There is
an amendment.
There's one in-camera matter, your worship.
Oh, is that what we were talking about?
No,
No,
talking about the mill rate and your tax thing too.
it's actually in, it says, your worship, it's under.
On the agenda?
Number 11. The tax rate falls in with the O&M budget.
Oh,
Oh, okay, thank you.
So can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette. Thank you, Councillor Burtis. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving right along. Number 2 on the agenda is to adopt the draft minutes from the committee of the whole meeting of December 5th, 2023.
Make a motion to adopt those minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Slager.
I can second it.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette. Any questions or comments?
Not for me. Seemed like a lively meeting.
It was busy. It was a long meeting.
But no comments.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Anything else? All in favor? Carried. Number 3 on the agenda is the open to pay the open payables in the amount of $116,488.29.
I'll make a motion to pay the open payables.
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette. Thank you, Councillor Burtis. All in favor? Carried. Number 4 on our agenda is the RCMP policing reports.
Sorry, your worship, there's no question.
Oh,
Finance.
sorry. Did I do an all in favor?
We didn't all in favor, but you didn't ask if we want to say anything.
Oh, well, too bad.
Oh my God.
Any questions for the open payables?
I guess my only one was on 61800, just it's a larger amount.
That was mine.
Dimensions Tech, that is the satellite communications for the fire department. It's in the rescue truck.
Thank you.
Were they updated, Ken? Is that the thing?
Sorry?
Were they updated?
No, it's a yearly fee. They're terrible on billing. We don't bill monthly like we would like. They bill one bill the end of the year and we gotta chase them for it.
One other quick question. I see the Watson Lake Secondary School was made a checkup for 1,500 for the community dinner. Did they already get paid for their haunted house? Because I submitted both invoices before Christmas. I was just curious about that. By one made it, one didn't.
I thought that had been paid before, but I will have to look into that, your worship, because this one I know was with.
Yeah. There was, it was just another invoice I
will
bill, so. Was just curious about it, that's all.
Any other questions?
What was 61782? Radant Tractor,
Sorry, which one?
61782. Radant Tractor.
Right.
Brant Tractor,
Brant
that
Tractor?
is the bill for them working on the excavator so far.
Holy moly, hey.
It's only gonna go higher.
Thanks for the word.
Is it a lemon, that excavator?
What's that?
Is it a lemon?
Well, it's sure, it seems like that, but the new motor, this is the new motor going into it now, so.
It'll be fixed up.
Okay.
All good? Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we already had the motions and all in favor. Number 4 on the agenda is the RCMP policing reports. Unfortunately, no one can be here this evening, but they will be here for our first meeting in January with a couple of the new members and to go through the reports. But if there's any questions, I'm sure administration can pass them along if there's anything.
I do have a question. I wasn't sure if I should address that here or after the minutes, but on When the sergeant was here at the December 5th meeting, he mentioned, it's actually in the minutes, that members are being called to respond to things outside of their scope, such as EMS and whatnot, and I think it would be nice if we could get, if it's possible to get those stats, just because, as you all know, we are constantly concerned about shortage of EMS in the community and advocating for resources.
No, better fire department.
So, yeah, so it just would be nice maybe to have those stats just to,
Yeah, the same, your worship, the calls they're being called to are the same ones that our fire department's been dispatched to as well.
okay,
So, but I can confirm with him if they'll even release those stats to us.
if it's possible, I think that would be helpful. That's all. Thank you.
Anything else for the policing report?
Not for me.
Okay. Thank you for that. We will move right along to number 5 on the agenda, which is Cliff Costick's letter of support for long-term care beds at Watson Lake Hospital. Thank you for coming out tonight, Cliff. I have your letter. Do you want me to just read it out loud?
You can, I appreciate your letter. Houses sent out.
Yeah. So usually,
Everything on the nose and push it along with the community.
so usually this is just a correspondence section, so we usually just read the correspondence. We don't usually, but we'll read it out loud so it's on the minutes, and then it's public and it stays there forever. So, okay. Let me just find it, the proper. All right. Good morning, Tiffany. Just looking for ways to raise the awareness of the need for long-term care in Watson Lake, as it seems that Whitehorse has the impression that there is not a need due to the lack of people requesting long-term care. I get the impression that people don't want to put their names on this list for long-term care as they don't want to go to Whitehorse. Whitehorse is taking it as a lack of need in Watson Lake, having 150 people over 65 years old in Watson Lake. There has to be a need. Even if you took 10% at any given time, there would definitely be a need. Supplying a letter will help, and maybe along with the lobbying, anyone in YTG that could help. Thank you very much. So I don't know if as of late, there's been some media discussions about this issue. Minister McPhee said that the municipality didn't want these 2 beds, which was false. We were rebutted and said that we didn't say that, and that we actually will take whatever we can get. And we expressed concern with maybe the fact that it was some budgetary issues that they were unable to make these things happen. So that's concerning. And we also expressed the real need, because I think we all know that the population in Watson Lake is aging. It's not even that they're seniors, it might be close to seniors, and that we have a lot of long-term Watson Lakers that want to stay here. And that's really important to us because we want people to stay here badly. That's what's helping our community grow. That's the backbone of our community. It's just very important. And the Costicks are a great example of that because they have been here for how many years?
72.
72, going on 72 years now.
Exactly. Great members of the community. We want to keep them here. And the cost of going to Whitehorse is not an option. It's just not an option. So we need some care. But thank you for bringing this letter to us. And we are advocating very hard for that long-term care facility. Haven't gotten too far yet, but who knows?
Even the 2 beds that they had initially stated that were replaced here. We have, community needs to start someplace. 2 is a start. It's not the answer.
Yeah.
Start with something working.
100%. Yep, we're all on board with that. So, is there any other comments from council?
No, agree.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for your submission, Cliff, and stay tuned. I mean, yeah. All right, so next on the agenda, we have S. Bergeron, application for zoning amendment, 608 8th Street. Get my. And I will read it out loud. Dear Mayor and Council, this is an application for a zoning change of 608 8th Street North, Watson Lake, Yukon. I've had the opportunity to listen to the community of the whole meeting, which took place on November 21st, 2023. I would like to clarify a few points to assist council when making the decision for a zoning change application. The nature of this application process allows for council to hear different opinions from our residents to assist them in making their decision. I support this process and understand that some residents may not agree with the zoning change. I don't feel the comments made regarding our business process were necessary to help determining a zoning change. However, I would like to make a couple of points to clarify. Bergeron General Contracting and we personally have, as developers, have always ensured we obtain all required permits when building. We schedule and meet conditions of all required inspections during the building process up to and including the final inspection where we obtain occupancy for a building. We have never had an issue of non-compliance on a completed project. Our rental housing unit, which was mentioned at the CAL meeting, was always operated in full compliance of the approved funding agreement regarding rental amounts and all other conditions. The decision remains in the hands of council to decide whether to change this lot to multi-residential or to keep it as a current zoning, which is institutional. Under the current zoning, one could construct a building such as a recreation center, a church, clinic, or nursing station, emergency services building, education or tourist center, or public utility structure. In my opinion, given the size of our community, we are not in need of more than one of these types of facilities. We are, however, in need of additional housing. Council also previously heard comments regarding residents being against the lack of yard space, which is generally a consequence of building higher density housing. I would point out that in many cases, people who choose to live in an apartment or other type of multi-residential housing see this as a benefit. They have no yard to maintain and are more than happy to use one or more public parks that were for recreation purposes. In closing, I simply wanted to refute any comments made regarding the possibility of us being allowed this change and then not following the proper rules and bylaws governing the new zoning of the lot. This is not a possibility. If council chooses to make the zoning change as outlined in our application, we fully understand that we would then be governed by the rules of the zoning bylaw for multi-residential zoning as well as the current building codes. Please contact me if you would like any further clarification or have questions. Shannon Bergeron. Any comments or questions?
No, I think she said it all.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Great. Okay. Next on our agenda, our CAO Lockwood, if you would.
Quick already. So since our last meeting, it's been very busy here at the rec center with events going on. Community dinner was a real success, and I'd like to extend thanks to the Mayor and Council and the grads. It was a good event, and it's been a long time since we've seen that many people out to a community event. So yeah, and we've been rather lucky on snow removal. It's been rather quiet on that front. We'll see what comes out of this little blow through, but I don't think it's gonna amount to much. But so yeah, so crews are just plugging away, and everybody's getting ready for the holiday season. So as we move forward, there's been lots of work on getting ready for your next council meeting in January because of the breaks and the stuff. So we've been really plugging away at that. And then the tax roll, which I will address when we get to agenda item number 11, because it's really caused us a lot of work in the last couple weeks. So that's about all I have to bring forward at this moment. I'm sure there's going to be questions from council. So.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you, CEO Lockwood. I would just like to say thanks to all parties that participated in the community dinner. It is always a lot of work, but it was excellent this year. I thought it was exceptional. It's fun. It's probably the best turnout we've had for
Mhm.
the community dinner
Really good, lots of people.
ever. So
Kind of food.
thank you to everybody.
Good.
Okay, number 8 on our agenda is the third and final reading of zoning amendment bylaw 2023-010, 608 Street North.
I'll make a motion to pass the third and final reading of zoning bylaw 2023-10, being 608 Street or 608 8th Street North.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the third and final reading of the capital budget amendment bylaw 2023-13.
Make a motion for the third and final reading of is that the third and final, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I have the bylaw 2023-13 of the capital budget bylaw amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Burtis.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any questions or comments?
No.
All in favor? Carried. Sorry, number 10. Third and final reading of the 2024 capital budget bylaw 2023-014.
So your worship, I just want to bring forward an amendment before third and final reading. We have applied for, as council knows, we have applied for funding under the Housing Accelerator Fund from Ottawa. And I want to, we've been told that there's gonna be announcement coming out, but we're not sure what we're gonna get out of the money, out of that funding, but so we decided to make the amendment to put it in that if the full amount, and that way if the money's approved, then we can proceed with that program without having to bring back the budget for 3 readings based on that.
So how would we include that into the capital budget without knowing a dollar amount?
It's no different than we do with our gas tax and all those other capital items. That money's in there based on improvement of the funds being available to be spent.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is what they think we're gonna get, right?
Okay.
That's the funds that we think.
Yeah, and if we don't get approved for it, then we can't spend that.
That's right.
So,
Understood.
okay, that's the same as the gas tax ones, in any of those government funds,
Yeah.
it's all contingent on approval.
Yeah, there's no spending line on that money, so.
No, it's just in there, just
Yeah.
budget and then we figure out how that rolls. Okay.
Just for the gallery, it's a revenue line called the Housing Accelerator Fund. It's $515,000
3 years, right?
for 3 years. Yep. Anyway, go ahead.
I'll make a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 2314 for the capital budget bylaw.
Second.
One moment. Were we not going to basically try to purchase the replacement pumper and replacement rescue truck in this fiscal
Yeah.
year,
They are.
just in case, but the dollars amount is under 2026?
Yes, that's right. The approval is in this year's budget line, your worship, because of the fact that the money won't be spent until 2026 when they arrive.
Home delivery.
But the purchase of them is approved in this year's budget.
Okay, I was just seeing that the dollar amount was allocated there and just curious
Yeah, it's,
why that was.
yeah, it's allocated there, and then the other thing that's allocated that was moved over and when you were away, Councillor Slager, was the movement of the second structural protection unit was moved to this year's budget to meet funding allotments.
Okay.
And we still don't know what the new Canadian Community Build Fund is gonna look like yet. So,
Okay, so I had a motion from Councillor Hanchar, a second from Councillor Burtis. Is there any more questions? Or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay, so number 11 is the third and final reading of the 24 O and M budget.
Okay.
However,
Your worship, I would like to bring forward from administration that the third and final reading of the O and M budget be tabled to the January 16th meeting. And that council, that will give council time to review the mill rate budget or the mill rate bylaw, which you have an admin report in front of you. But what I would need tonight is a motion to remove the O and M budget as provisional to allow the municipality to continue operations after December 31st until the O and M budget itself is passed. Make sense?
yep, you bet.
Subject to any questions.
Yep. So if you guys want to have,
I'll make a motion to do the O and M budget provisional of the 2024 O and M budget.
So one thing that I noticed is perhaps missing, or it's included in a different line item, just I'm seeking clarification before we vote to pass it, was I wanted to see a pittance of an amount, $1,000 allocated to Christmas and Halloween decorations. Top 1, 2, 3 in town, or we could figure out, but there's a line in what I would assume would come under recreation. And it had like community activities, and I think it was $10,000 is budgeted for that. I'm wondering if it would fall under that, or do we need a separate line item for this thing? For my small ask.
Your worship, it's been added in under the recreation budget. Recreation actually had brought that forward as well. For prize money for those type of events. It is under recreation,
Was it under special events or something?
especially.
Yeah, and there's a $10,000 allocated to it, I believe.
No, yeah, there's a couple different special events line, but that's where it is. And then there is also money under council, under your
PR?
your special projects funds as well.
Okay.
That's 20, isn't
It's, yeah.
it? 20, yeah, 20.
Anyway,
you okay with that?
yeah, I just want to make sure it's included because I feel it's a small thing that means a lot.
Yep. Got to encourage the community spirit for sure.
So yes, it has been included in the motion.
Okay. Do you want me to read this administrative report?
I haven't had a chance to review it yet, so.
It would go to your cow meeting anyways, your worship, so we
Okay.
would need a motion to table. Third and final reading to the January.
So if I could have a motion to table the third and final reading of 2024 O and M budget bylaw 2023-15.
I'll make a motion to table the O and M budget to the January 16th meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Hancher.
A second.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Now, if I could have a motion to pass the provisional 2024 O and M budget.
I'll make a motion to pass the provisional 2024 O and M budget.
Thank you, Councillor
I can
Burris.
second that.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette. All in favor? Carried. Is there any more questions or comments?
No, thanks.
To this.
Okay. Final item on our agenda tonight is the community lottery fund approval and recommendations.
I could speak to that.
Sure, please do, Councillor Slager.
Let me just hold up my notes here. I got it. So the boys and girls volleyball team applied separately. There was some discussion about whether or not they should be included as one, but they're two different teams, two different coaches, two different times, two different sets of expenses. They're not one and the same, and even if you took the mileage and per person and the meal thing, as per our guidelines, it would have exceeded the $4,000 anyway, and no matter what gender. So, and just due to participants. So the amount there, next year I'm going to see if we can get an actual list, but I don't know about like how that works with like privacy rules, because it's, anyway, we'll go into that later. Anyway, so boys and girls volleyball team, $4,000 each. The seniors received, I think, Let me just make sure whether it's the seniors or the daycare. It's not opening on my computer right now. It was 1820 anyway.
Take care.
Daycare, oh, there we go. That was for a music instructor to come and they're gonna split the cost between them and the elementary school, I understand. They were approved for $1,820. The remaining 3,000 and change was split between the other two groups that had previously applied and received $4,000 each for various projects, and due to the fact that they'd already received funding this year and to avoid a special intake meeting once, because groups, the daycare and the school teams were the first time they were tapping into these funds. The other guys had already tapped into said funds, and so the difference was split between the two of them to allow them to further their goals. And that was the seniors in disc golf.
Great.
Great.
All worthy causes for sure. We are spending money, so if we could have a motion to approve these.
I'll make a motion to approve the lottery fund recommendations.
Thank you, Councilor Hanchar. Thank you, Councilor Burtis. All in favor? Carried.
Sorry, I have a quick question. What is that? Those funds roll over again?
Next year, like,
April what?
there's the next intake.
Because usually do a special one in February, hey?
That's only if you have a bunch of money left over that you're trying to spend.
Right.
So I think it's, April 15th, I believe, or April 5th, somewhere around there.
Your worship, the funds will be, the new funding envelope is April 1st.
Okay.
And I think it's either April, we moved it from May to April to meet the summer season. We adjusted the dates. I don't know them off the top of my head, but they'll be publicized.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have council open forum. So any questions, council? Comments?
I'll just mention that Councilor Paquette and I went down to Lower Post last night, and Chief Schilling invited council to attend the Lower Post Community Christmas Dinner, and that was really nice to get the invite and go down there. It was a nice evening, and their Christmas concert. It was really, yeah, it's nice.
It's good.
Thanks to community of Lower Post and Bailey Dinner Council for having us.
Thank you for taking the time to be there, Councilor Hanchar and Councilor Paquette. It's important to keep those relations alive, and
Yeah.
glad you made it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else for council open forum?
What's going on in Pleasant Crescent? There's a bunch of equipment working, just moving snow, or there's no dig or anything like
I
that?
think it was just maybe so because because I noticed they were doing that at the hospital as well.
Okay, I wasn't nosy enough to go around the corner.
Your worship, I honestly don't know, because I haven't talked to Public Works.
Okay,
I assume that's all they would be doing, yeah.
My only other question was the one that I asked earlier about the RCMP MS thing, so.
I'm liking the lights along the road. It's looking nice. I like that.
Hope it's done before Christmas.
It's-
or-
It's, my apologies, we've been a frustrating process.
Yeah,
Staffing issues and then equipment breakdowns.
yeah,
So.
Okay.
I'm truthfully hoping,
it's
I
done.
was promised it would have been done.
It looks great. It does look great.
It's lovely. I like it.
I get to hear red, blue, all the way home from daycare, so. Okay. So, that will close our 2023 council agenda for tonight. If there's nothing else for council open forum,
no, in camera, sorry.
yeah,
I was just.
we do have,
Just to confirm, our next meeting is January 9th, not the sixth.
yes, it's the second Tuesday of January. So it'll be the 9th and then the 6th.
Right.
All right. So
Sorry,
go ahead.
didn't we say the 23rd because you needed a little bit more time between meetings?
No, it wasn't the 23rd, because I'm not in town on the 23rd.
Okay, so it is the 9th.
That guy.
Okay, back to back. Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
Okay, we do have some in camera, so if I could have a motion to go in camera, thank you, everybody, for coming. See,
I'll make a motion to go on camera.
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Ancher. Thank you, Councilor Force. All in favor?
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I hope you eat lots and get fat.